Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. My name is Chinmaya, and in this multi-part series, I'm going to tell you about a very useful data visualization tool called Google My Maps. It is said that many times what you are desperately seeking might be hiding in plain sight. This seems to be true about Google My Maps because it's been around for many years, but I feel not many people use it or even know about it. I think that it's a great tool to learn. It's easy to use, it's fun, and you can utilize it to narrate visually compelling stories. So, what exactly is Google My Maps? Well, simply put, Google My Maps helps you visualize your data on a map. Now, using Google My Maps, you can do many useful things. For example, you can create maps where you can show locations of stores, warehouses, schools, colleges, ATMs, police stations, human-animal conflict locations, sampling points, crime locations, anything that you want to display the location of, you can actually map that and display it as a map. What you can also do is to plan routes or plan trips. So if you are visiting a particular area, you can in advance plan all routes where you will be visiting, and then you can carry this map with you on your mobile phone and then navigate using this route map. What you can also do is to plan events. For example, in this particular case, some people have planned a full music event. So you can see here, this is where the stages will go, the green areas where people are going to sit. You have other locations which designate restaurants, banks, ATMs, gas stations, and so on and so forth. So you can share these maps with other people, and then they can navigate and find their way around the event. You can display a wide variety of base maps using Google My Maps and tell very compelling stories. For example, what you are seeing on your screen could possibly be a point of air pollution, and then you can designate proximity zones, areas falling within 1 kilometer, area falling within 3 kilometers, areas falling within 5 kilometers, and so on and so forth. What you can also do using Google My Maps is that if you have geotagged photographs, for example, most cameras support this, most mobile phones support this. If you have switched on your geotagging feature in your mobile phone camera or your camera, whenever a picture is taken, the location of that particular picture is also stored. So if you have a collection of such pictures, you can easily display them using Google My Maps. But where Google My Maps shines really is that you are not confined to just creating one layer. You can create multiple layers and then create a stack of maps and lay them all one on top of each other, giving you a feel of what is known as a geographical information system or GIS. But I must just mention very quickly that where GIS permits you to analyze maps together, Google My Maps does not permit you to analyze maps, but just visualize maps. And many times that is all that is needed to point towards a solution to a particular problem or create very visually compelling stories. What's really fantastic is that once you have created these maps, you can then share them online in an instant by sharing a link, and people can watch these maps. You can embed them on blog posts or websites, and you can also add people who can help you create these maps. You can collaborate to create maps. So all this is possible using My Maps. Now, what's required to use Google My Maps? Well, first of all, it's completely free. And all you need is just a Google account. So if you have a Gmail account, you're good to go. And the only other thing that you need is lots of imagination. Sky is the limit. So in this series, I'm going to tell you all about Google My Maps. I'll tell you how you can create your maps, how you can style these maps once you have created them. I will tell you how to add labels and information to the points that you have digitized. I will tell you how to edit digitized items. I will also show you how to create proximity zones like the one that I have just shown you before. I will show you how to plan routes. I will show you how to import layers and also export layers. And I'm going to do this using some examples such that you can relate and bring in all these concepts together and create useful maps for yourself. I have segmented these videos into lessons and topics. So after you watch this full video, you can always come back and directly jump to a chapter of interest using the timestamps in the description below. So let's start with part 1 in this series. So as I mentioned earlier, Google My Maps is a map creator that helps you visualize your data on a map. Now, one important question is, why would you like to visualize your data on maps in the first place? It's not really very common, but then there are some really great advantages of doing this whenever the situation arises. So let's try to understand this using a small example. Let's say, for example, we are a small public health clinic and we suddenly start receiving a lot of cases of chickenpox. So we have here 15 patients who have arrived to our clinic, and all of them are suffering from chickenpox. So we have entered all data regarding each patient inside a table. But then this table is not really very useful. It is definitely storing information. But what happens if we can add just one more column to this table? And that column is the column of location. So for each of these cases, each patient, we have recorded the location of their residence or their house. And in this particular case, the first number here is the longitude, and the second number here is the latitude. So the location of each patient's house is recorded here. And if you're wondering about this strange way of writing locations, well, this is called as WKT, or well-known text. So it's just using the keyword point followed by a pair of brackets, and we are just entering the longitude and latitude values here. So this is the location of each house, and this is called as the WKT, or well-known text representation. We can of course save locational data as longitude and latitude, and sometimes this can also be abbreviated as X and Y. The headings of these columns, instead of being called as longitude and latitude, can also be mentioned as X and Y. So whatever be the case, we have just added locational information, and this kind of data is called as geocoded data because the original data now has locational information, and therefore it can be displayed very conveniently on a map. So we can use Google My Maps to take in a table like this and then just simply display this data on a map. And the moment you do this, you start seeing context. And first of all, you see where exactly this is happening. And the second thing that you can see here quite easily is that all the cases that we have received in our clinic, they are in a cluster. And if we zoom in into this map, you will see that each of these cases now starts showing up. Unfortunately, the zoomed version of the map is not providing us enough information or more detail about this distribution. So what we can do is, instead of using the map as a base map, we can put in a satellite picture as the base map, because then we can actually see what exactly is on the ground. So when we do that, you will see that this is a small hamlet which is having huts, and the chickenpox cases are all proximate to each other. They are just in these residences where you are seeing these location pointers. And the first thing that comes to your mind is that this is the containment zone. And in order to prevent this infection from spreading, we need to make sure that the houses that are outside this containment zone are vaccinated, and people do not come in contact with these houses till the time that these people recover. So just by putting information on the map, you get a lot of contextual information: what is close to what is proximate to what is on the left side of what, and so on and so forth. And you can be pointed towards a solution. And this is the power of putting information on a map. So this kind of data gets visualized like this on a map, and it can help you solve problems. And this is the power of Google My Maps. This is the kind of map that Google My Maps permit you to create. You can use these in presentations and keep recording further infections, and can share this with your medical team and with people, and so on and so forth. Now, before we move forward and actually start using Google My Maps, I want to just mention a few things about mapping in general, and these might be very helpful when we start using Google My Maps. When you open a map like this, you will see that there are just 3 kinds of features on this maps. The information that you are seeing on this map is comprised of only 3 kinds of geometric features. One is points. So something is displayed on this map as a point. You can see this here. These are 2 hospitals that are depicted as points. These are all hotels, again depicted as points. These are places where this particular facility is existing, and these are recorded as 1 pair of latitude, longitude. And this is a museum. So these are all points. So when you look at a map closely, you will find that one of the features that is depicted on a map is a point feature. So commonly seen point features on maps are ATMs, banks, police stations, churches, temples, restaurants, schools, colleges, sites where accidents have happened, sites where crimes have happened, sampling points, location of stores, warehouses, cell phone towers. So you're going to see all these depicted as points on a map. The next kind of feature is a line feature. So you can quite easily see on this map quite a few line features, things that have been depicted as lines rather than as points. So you can see that this is a road and this is a line. You can see this is a road, this is also a line. And likewise, many other lines on this map. I'm just giving a small sample here just to tell you that these are lines. And not only roads, you can see that we can represent rivers as lines as well. And so there can be many other things that can be represented as lines on a map. Railway lines, track paths, ropeways, power lines, sampling transects, boundaries, etc., etc. So this is the second kind of feature that is seen on a map. The third feature that is present on a map is polygon. So there are features that can be represented by enclosing an area. And in this particular case, you can see quite a lot of green features here. These are wooded areas. So this is one polygon that is representing a wooded area. This is a second polygon that is representing a wooded area. Then you could have a polygon for a lake or a water body. You can have polygons for housing areas, as you are seeing on your screen. So quite a few features on a map are also represented as polygons. So when you are looking at a map, the features that you see are either points or lines or polygons. And of course, there is text, because without text, none of this would have any meaning. So text is very important. Many times you need to attach more than 1 bit of text per feature. For example, if you have a store, you want to store the manager for that store. You would like to also record the daily sales for that particular store. So you can attach numerous pieces of text or information for each of these locations. But then without text, all of this would not have any meaning. We would not be able to make out any sense on this particular map. So this is just a small introduction about the features that we commonly find on a map. Just 3 points or lines or polygons, and of course text. Very quickly, I just want to also mention that when we are zooming in on this particular area, say for example, you will see more polygons appear. And you can see that the housing polygons now have prints for buildings. You can see new points appearing, for example, a florist and a home goods store. You can see new lines appearing. So all this is possible. And maps are actually depicting what is on the ground. So this is a satellite image, and I'm going to alternate this image with the map. So you can see all these lines that are the roads. And this is what is on the ground, and this is what is depicted on a map. So I'm going to just alternate between the two, and you can see that in most parts, the map is a true representation of what is existing on the ground. But just have a look at some of these areas which I have tried to demarcate using these arrows as an example, and these little circles. So you will see that these are features that are present on the ground. For example, this is a very heavily wooded area, and these are 2 structures So these are things that are present on the ground, but they are really not present or depicted on the map. For example, these areas are not shown as wooded lots, and the structures on the ground here are not really seen on the map. This part is not seen on the map. So this could be because of many reasons. One could possibly be that this is not of interest to the map maker, and they are not showing things beyond a certain resolution, or they're not interested to show certain features, and the map is made for a particular purpose, or otherwise the map is not updated and it is missing out on things. So there could be numerous things that can explain why certain features are not on a map. So the important point here is that maps are drawn by people, and therefore they can miss out things, or they can show things in a different representation. Sometimes they're designed for a particular purpose. So we have to keep that in mind always. So with this little background, let's now head to My Maps and start creating some maps. So as I mentioned earlier, we need only a Google account, a Gmail account, and all we need to do is to go to www.google.com/mymaps. I have provided a link to this site in the description below. Just enter this in your browser. No software is needed. We are going to work inside the browser, and everything that you will be doing using My Maps will be stored in the cloud on your Google Drive, and you can access it from anywhere. So let's now start creating some maps using Google My Maps. So let's start creating a map. Just open your browser. I am using Google Chrome here, and type in mymaps.google.com as you see here, and press enter. You can also look for Google My Maps by searching inside the Google search box, but this is a direct way. Just type in mymaps.google.com and press enter. You will be asked to give your login credentials. So provide your Google login credentials, and once you have done that, this is what you're going to see. So a quick explanation of this screen. This is Google My Maps screen. As you keep creating new maps, you will see those maps appear here inside this particular box. So currently we are not having any maps. That's why it says there are no maps owned by you. So once you've created these maps, you can share them with other people. So if you have shared any maps, you can click on this tab here, and you will see all the maps that you have shared with other people. Other people can also share maps with you. So if that is the situation and somebody has shared some map with you, you can see those maps which are not owned by you, owned by other people, but shared with you using this particular tab. This one shows you all the recent maps that you have created. And this shows you all the maps owned by you, not owned by you, shared, and everything. So if you click on this, you will see all your maps. Using this button, you can sort your maps according to date modified or title, etc. And this button right here shows you the maps in a grid view or a list view. And we will see this a little later on once we start creating maps. You can start creating a new map by using this particular button, create a new map. Now for this example, we will start with a simple point map, and I will show you important features of Google My Maps using this simple point map of locations. So let's start by creating a new map. To create a new map, you can just click on this button here, create a new map. So once you do this, it takes a little time, a few seconds, and then it'll come back and show you the map canvas with the world map. So there's a little window out here that will show you all the features that you add to this map as you create this map. There's a little toolbox right here, and we will be using this toolbox, and I will explain this to you. And there is a search box here using which you can locate features that you want to include in your map. So let's start creating a point map for a hypothetical situation. I'm planning to start a small bookstore business. So I want to show on a map where my chain of bookstores, which I call as LIBOR, which is Latin for books, will be located across a geographical region. So for this example, let's head to Ireland, and you can see this beautiful country of Ireland right here. And I'm trying to open a series of bookstores across Ireland. So one of the bookstores that I will be opening is in the city of Cork. One will be in Dublin, one will be in Galway, and I would open one bookshop in Belfast and one in Coleraine. So this part of Ireland, just for reference, is Northern Ireland, which is part of the United Kingdom. And this is the country Ireland. So I plan to open a series of bookstores here. And I want to depict the location of my bookstores on this particular map. So let's zoom into this area. So I've zoomed in into this area. And let's say I have decided at this location tentatively to open my bookstore in Cork. And the name of the bookstore is Liber. So I'm just going to come here and click on this add marker button right here. And then come here and point at the exact location where my bookstore will be located. And then just go ahead and click. So when you do this, it'll just open this small dialog and it permits you to enter the name of this particular point. So I'm going to just write Liber Cork. And then I can come here and provide a small description of this bookshop. So I will just come here and type something. So as you can see, I have entered the name and I have also typed in some description about this particular bookstore. And I've also included a small website. Now, this is not my website. This is just a website that I have just picked up from the internet. So you can add reference to any website. So once you are done with this, just go ahead and click on save. And your first point has been entered. So as you will see, this Liber Cork is now available inside this particular layer. Now there are two things that we need to do right away. We need to title this map. So let's just come here and click on this and title this map. So let me just say Liber Bookshops. And we can add a small description right here as well. So chain of bookstores across Ireland and save. So you will see that this map is now called as Liber Bookshops and you have a small description right here. This little icon tells you that everything has been saved. Whenever you make a change on this map, this icon just spins for a little while, indicating that it's automatically saving the change that you have made. You don't have to save anything. It's automatically done for you. And once you see this icon, you can be assured that anything that you have added here has been saved. And all saving is happening on your Google Drive. So I will show that to you in a second. So we have just changed the title of this map and we can also change the title of this layer. So we can just come here and click on rename this layer and give this layer also a meaningful title and just go ahead and say save. So my first bookstore has been created here. This is the marker that has been added as a result of my pointing to this particular location. And you can see this right here. Now, one interesting point is that as you zoom out and just go to show the entire country, you will see that all details have been masked out except for your icon, and that is clearly visible. So if you zoom out and show the entire country, your location is still visible. So we have added the first of these locations. So let's head back and see what else we can do with this marker. So I can open this once again for editing. So I'll just come here and click on this little bucket symbol. So this dialog box opens again. If I want to delete this marker, I can click on this icon and this place will be deleted. And if I wanted to edit this, for example, if I have some text to add or some other information to provide, I can just click on this and you will see that we can make changes right here, change the name, change the description, etc. Once we are done, we can save it. And what we can also do is we can add photographs to this location. So I'm just going to come here and click on this camera icon, and you can add photographs in many different ways. You can just simply drag and drop a photograph from your computer right here, or browse and reach a folder and select a photograph. You can take a picture from the webcam. If you have some photographs on the internet already, you can come and just simply provide the URL for that particular image. You can paste in photographs from your Google Drive, and so on and so forth. I have some photographs on Google Photos. So I'm going to click on this, and this is my bookshop in Cork. So I'm going to come here and click on this and just press on insert. If I want to add more than one photographs, I will have to do this process repeatedly. You cannot select a bunch of photographs and add at one go. So this is my bookshop. I'm going to come here and click on this and click on insert. So a picture has now been added to this description, and you can see that this is one of one. If we wanted to add one more picture, we could come here and click on this plus sign and then go to photos or any other location where your photograph is located, and then just click on that particular photograph and insert. So I have added 2 photographs right here. That gives the users of this map a preview of this location, how my bookstore is laid out. If I wanted to delete any photograph, I can just come to that particular photograph. For example, if I wanted to delete the second photograph, I can come to the second photograph. It says 2 of 2, and then I can just click on this delete button. So that photograph is deleted out of the collection. I can always come and click on this plus sign and then go to the location where my photo is kept, and then I can just insert that photo right back in again. So you can insert quite a few photos right here. Just keep clicking on the plus sign and adding your photos. And once you are done, you can just go ahead and click on save. You will also notice that it shows you the exact location of this point in latitude and longitude. And if you ever want to save this, you can always select this and right click and copy, and then paste it inside an Excel sheet or any document. What we can also do is not only add photographs, but also add a video. So to do that, let's head back again and open this in editing mode. So just come here and click on the edit button, and you can just come here and click on this plus sign once again. The only condition for adding videos is that it must be available on YouTube. So if you have your own channel, you can upload the video first on your channel. And if you're linking to some existing video, you can just come here and click on YouTube, and then just go ahead and either search for the video or just simply paste the link of a video that you want to share. I have a video here, so I will just paste that particular link and press enter. So you should be able to see that video. This is an existing video, The Joy of Books, created by someone, a very nice video. So once you see this video, you need to click on it and then go ahead and click on insert. Just typing the link and pressing enter will show you the video, but not insert it. So you have to click on this particular video and then just go ahead and choose insert. So I'm going to go ahead and click on insert, and that video has now been added. So I have 3 items here. 2 are photographs that I have added before, and the third one is a video. So I can just click on this and the video starts playing. So just go ahead and click on save. If you don't save, then this change will not be reflected. So go ahead and click on save, and the job is done. And we have created our first bookstore on the map and added information to that particular bookstore. Now, if you wanted to share this map, we can do that quite easily by clicking on this share button right here. You can then go ahead and switch this on, and then go ahead and copy this link and share it with anybody. So if we were to share this map, what would the users of this map see? So we can click on preview for that. And while you're creating a map, this is a good practice. just keep clicking preview such that you have a good idea of how your map is going to appear to anybody with whom you are going to share this map. So we are going to come here and click on preview, and this is how the map will look to anybody who will click on this particular link. And you can see that we have our first location. When somebody clicks on this location, they get all the information that you had provided. They have a link that they can click and reach and read a little bit more about your bookstore. And this is just a sample link that I have included to show to you. And they can then come here and click on this, and then they can see the pictures that we have included. These are all sample pictures, and they can just move ahead and see the second picture. And they can also go ahead and have a look at the video. So you can also include videos. This is a beautiful video that I just thought would be a good video to use for this example. So this is how you can add photographs, and this is how your bookstore is going to appear to your users. So users here have an option of switching this layer off. So if they can just click on this, this location will disappear from the map. And if they click on this location and any other location that we are going to add here will then appear back on the map. So users have this flexibility of switching on or off the features that you have created, and this can be very, very handy. So we will keep previewing our maps as we keep building them. So let's head back to our edit view. As this is a preview window, you can just close it, and we are back again to our edit window, and we can keep continuing. Now, when you click on the preview window, this is what your map users are going to see. If you want them to see a different view, so we will head back again to our edit view, and say, for example, I want my first view to be of the entire country. So I will just bring the view that I want my users to see. And once I have that view on the screen, I can click on these three buttons right here and set that as the default view. So whenever somebody clicks on your shared map link, they will first see this, and then they can zoom in into different locations. So if you want to show them a particular view when they click the link for the first time, you can just come here and click on set default view. So now when you go ahead and preview, this is what you're going to see. Now, what I have seen here is that when you click on preview after you have set this default view right here, I find that this zooms out a little bit. There's no way we can control this except for a little workaround that I have found. And I'm going to close this and head back again. You can zoom in a little bit and then go back again and set your default view. And this time around, when you go ahead and preview, you should be able to see a closer view of your map, just like you intended to show in the first place. So this is a small workaround. It really doesn't matter. But then I just thought that I'll share this with you. So you can set a default view. Just bring the area on the screen and then just go and click on default view. So that view will then be set for this particular map, and it will remain in effect till such time that you change it. So we have added our first location. Using this little bucket right here, you can also change the color of this particular marker. So if I wanted to show this in red color or orange color, I can just come here and click on it. I will talk about styling in a little more detail in a few minutes. If you want to undo any change that you have made, you can come here to the toolbar and click on undo. And this is redo. So we can make changes and do undo and redo. Let's add the second point here. And in this particular case, I'm planning to open another library shop in Dublin. So let's say, for example, I have chosen this particular property here to open my Dublin branch. So I'm going to come here and do the exact same thing, click on add marker, come and point to this particular location, and then just simply enter Liber Dublin and paste the exact same description right here. So my description has been pasted. I'm going to save this. I can add a photograph for this branch as well, and I can come to photos and choose one of the photos and insert it. So there is one photo for this particular branch as well. As I have done before, I can add more photographs for any particular location. So I'm just adding one more here. So 2 photographs have been pasted, and then I can just come here and save it. So I've just now finished my second branch, which is the Dublin branch. And you can see that this is now also appearing in this particular layer. So we have now 2 locations. And as we zoom out, you should also see the Dublin branch. This is the Cork branch, and this is the Dublin branch that is visible. Now we will add just a few more, 2 more to be precise, one in Belfast and one in Coleraine, although they are part of the United Kingdom. We are just going to go international and add 2 more branches here. So let us zoom into Belfast and add a branch at some particular location. So let's say this is the property that I have chosen, and I'm going to come here and click on this, and this is going to be Liber Belfast, and I can paste in the exact same description and save. I can add photographs as done before. I want to point out once again that whenever you put a marker, this always shows you the location. And if you ever need to have latitude, longitude coordinates for this location, you can just simply copy this and paste it wherever you want. So I'm going to close this and then just come out and head towards Coleraine and add one more bookstore to complete this map. And I'm going to zoom in and just choose a central location. So this is all hypothetical. So I'm going to come here and click on this and add this right here. And this is going to be Liber Coleraine. And paste the exact same description, save. If I wanted to add a photograph, I can always come here and choose a photo and add. And save. So all in all, I have added 4 bookstores, and we have created a simple point map that we can now share with our viewers. And all we need to do to share this is to just simply click on this button, just switch this on, and then just simply go ahead and copy the link and send it across so people can see the proposed bookstores that we plan to create, and all of them are available right here. Now, where exactly is this map being saved? So this is being saved on your Google Drive. So if you were to go to your Google Drive, drive.google.com, you will see that this map appears right here. And this logo here, the 2 people, shows that it is shared with anybody who has the link for this particular map. If you want all your maps inside a particular folder, you can do one more thing. You can click on the new button on your Google Drive and create a folder. And let us say this is my maps and create. So you now have a new folder right here. Double click on it to go inside. And what you can do now is you can right click here and then go to more. And here you will see Google My Maps. And when you click on this, a new map will be created for you. And you can then start working on your maps. And that map will be inside this particular folder. So all this is actually being stored on your drive. If you don't specify, it will be stored in the root folder of your Google Drive. So this is another way of working. You can create a folder, go inside that folder, right click, click on more, and then click on Google My Maps, and a new map will be created for you, as you can see here, and then you can start working on that particular map. So I'm going to close this and you will see that this is an untitled map, and I'm going to come here and delete this and head back again to the map that we were working with. So this is being stored in your Google Drive. One final point in this lesson, you will see a small icon here, that is the base map icon. And what you can do is you have a choice of maps that you can display. Now, if you find that this is very detailed and you don't want to show so much of detail on your map, what you can do is you can come here and change this map. You can show a satellite view. This is available anyway, so there's no point choosing this option. But what you can do is you can change the simple layer to a base atlas. So this is going to be in a different shade. It's showing you all the streets, but it's removing some details. So your marker is standing out quite substantially. And you can choose from many other options that you have here, depending upon what exactly you want to show. So these are having different levels of details. There is also one option, which is dark landmass, and then one which is white water. So you can choose any base map. And once you have chosen this base map, and when you go ahead and click on preview, your map will be shown in that particular base map. You will also notice that there is a small rectangle here at the base, and when you click on it, this is immediately converted into a satellite base map. When you click on this once again, it goes back again to your base map layer. So whichever base map layer you are going to choose from here, the satellite base map layer will always be available to you. But if you start with the satellite base map layer and then go to preview, you will see the standard map layer as an alternate. So when you click on it, you can just revert back to the standard layer, but only one layer that you have chosen will be visible in addition to the satellite map layer. So this is an interesting point here. You have a choice of 9 options here that you can choose as your base map. So we have created a basic point map right here. Using this icon, you can pan inside the map. You can grab hold of the map and bring a certain area of the map in view. Now, all these locations that you see here, they are now visible inside this particular layer. You can switch them off by clicking on this checkbox here. They're all gone, and click on this one more time, and all of them are back in again. As you hover your mouse on each location, that location is highlighted with a circular highlight, as you can see. And you can always edit information and photographs for that particular location by clicking on this. The same box opens up here. You can click on the edit button, and then you can make changes and save them, or you can add or delete photographs, or you can entirely delete the marker by clicking on this particular button. Now, this is a special button right here, and I will show this to you a little later on what this does. And using this, you can make changes to styling, about which I will talk in a little while from now. So all these locations are available and visible here. Now, one very important point that I want to mention is that when we created these locations, if I can just click on the first one, you would remember that we were permitted to enter 2 bits of information. One was the name and one was the description for this particular location. What happens when you create a location is that Google My Maps also creates a table. And you can see this table by clicking on these 3 dots right here, and you can open this data table. So as you click on this particular option, open data table, you will see the table, and you will notice that for each of these locations, location number 1, which is Liber Cork, you have a column called as name, and then you have a column that is called as description. So this table is actually containing information that you are seeing here. So what we can do is we can actually add more columns and therefore add more informations per location. And to do this, you can just simply come here and select a column. There are currently just 3 columns. This one we cannot change because this is internal. and this is the sequence in which we entered information. But these ones are the ones that we can work with. So you can click on a field and you will see a little drop down. And when you click on this drop down, you have a few options you can sort. But the ones that we are interested in is that you can insert a column before or after. And likewise, the same here, you click on this field, you have this little drop down. You can insert a column before or after. So let us insert a few columns. This is all hypothetical. So this opens up this little dialog right here, and it's asking you for the name of a column. So we can just come here and say potential footfall. So this is the number of people that we are expecting to come to this particular location. And here in the second type option, you have this drop down or spinner, and you have options of text, number, date and time, and true and false. So you can choose anything that is appropriate. In this case, because we are wanting to add a number, approximate number of people that are likely to visit this particular store, we can just choose a number and click on add. So you will notice that a new column has been added here, and then we can just double click on this column and start entering information. So for example, hypothetically, at this location, I'm expecting 200 people every day. At this location, about 150 people every day. At this location, maybe about 80 people every day. And then on the final location here, let's say 50 people every day. To enter data here, you will have to double click, and then you will see this cursor blinking, and then you can enter the value. Double click and edit or enter the value. So we have added a new column right here. Maybe I've already conducted an interview and I have selected store managers, so I can come and add another column right here. So click and insert column after. And this time around, I'm going to say store manager. And this is going to be text. So just click on add, and I can add the name of the store manager, double click and add the name. So just double click and add the name of the store manager. So we have added another column for the store manager right here. So we can keep adding any information that we want. If, say, for example, when these bookstores are operational, we can add a column for daily sales, etc., etc. So you are not just confined to 2 bits of information. You can keep adding more and more information by adding columns before or after. And if you're not happy, you can always delete a column. So you can keep adding and deleting columns as you like. So let's head back and see how things have changed here. And this time, when we actually click on this particular option here, you will see that in addition to the name and description, you are also seeing the footfall, the store manager, and the availability of second-hand books at this particular location. If you click on preview, your users can see all this information. When they click on LibreCork, they will see this information right here. And you will see that it's also displaying, in addition to name and description, footfall and the name of the store manager and whether second-hand books are available or not available. Let me just close this preview window and head back again. So you can add more columns of information per location by just simply coming and clicking on these 3 dots and then coming and opening this data table and then choosing any particular field and inserting a column before or after. If you're not happy with a particular field, you can always delete it, and so on and so forth. Now there is another button here, add row. So this is something that is not really intuitively very useful, but because it's there, I would like to show this to you. If, say, for example, you wanted to add a new location, you can add it while being inside the table. It might save you a little time. Let's close this. And what we are going to do is we will just go ahead and click on add row. And once you add row, you are seeing this row added right here. Now, addition of a row actually means that you want to create a new bookstore, and we just don't have the location of this bookstore because we are doing it from inside the table. If we wanted to do it from outside the table, we could go to that particular location and use the add marker button and create that, and you would see an entry right here. But because we want to create it from inside the table, we'll have to provide a location. So right click on this name cell and then go ahead and click on location and just simply choose replace with marker. So click on this. You will see that the cursor is now across, and you can then just simply zoom into the location wherever you want this to be. And say, for example, we wanted to open another bookshop, and this was in the town of Galway. So we can just come here and click on this, and you will see that a new location has been added right here. And we can provide a name to this particular location if we wanted to. We can just simply add it directly here, and I can say Liber Galway. And then I can just keep adding information that I wanted to paste. So I'll just take this from here, and we have created another location from inside the table. This is of course a hard way of doing it, but then this is what this button does, add row. The important one is you can add more columns per location, and you can always add a new store by zooming into that particular location and then just simply adding a marker. So if you zoom out now, you will see that we have now 5 bookstores. When we click on it, we have lots of information. So whenever you are creating a marker, a table is also created. This is in GIS terms called as an attribute table. Every location that you enter is then connected to a table, and we can add more bits of information to that particular location. Now let's have a quick look at styling this particular layer or map. You have a lot of freedom to style these markers individually or collectively. So you can just come here and click on this, and you can then just choose a different color. For example, if you wanted to show this in dark red color or orange color, we can just come here and choose a color, and that marker will change immediately to a different color. What we can also do is choose a different icon. So there are quite a few icons here. You can click on more icons, and then you can come here and look for some suitable icon. You can try to look for categories, and the list will be minimized, and you can search, or otherwise just simply type and have a look at some icon. So because this is a bookshop, I just typed in book, and this is the icon that is available, and I can choose this and click on OK. If I had a custom icon, I can use that as well. So I'm just using one of these standard Google icons, and just click here and go to OK, and you will see that this icon has changed. So I can go ahead and individually change all of them. Say, for example, show this in a different color if I wanted to, and then choose the same book icon and do the same for others. Or otherwise, I can click on this individual styles button right here, and then I have a few options. One of these options is no labels. So if I wanted to show a label with each of these icons, I can just come here, and from the available columns in my table, I can choose one, and you will see that this name is now starting to appear in addition to this particular icon, Liber Cork, Liber Dublin, Liber Belfast. It is in black with white background, and many times not really visible. So you'll have to take a call whether you want this or not. So you can choose one of these fields to be displayed in addition to the icon. I am preferring not to display any label right here. The second important thing that you can do here is to change this individual styles. Click on this, and you have a few options for styling, one of which is uniform styling. So if you wanted all these icons to be changed in one go, just click on uniform styling. So the individual styling now changes to uniform styling, and then you can come here and click on this and choose a particular color, for example, red, and all these locations will be shown in one single icon. And if you wanted to revert back, you can always click on this, click on uniform style, and revert back to individual styling. So whatever you had styled individually is remembered and then individually replaced. So this is one of the options that you can choose. What you can also do in terms of styling is click on this and click on uniform style. You can style them by sequence of numbers. So you can just click on this, and instead of the icon appearing here, you now have a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if this is making sense, you can choose sequence of numbers. And what you can also do is you can move these up and down to change the sequence of numbers. So for example, if I wanted to have Dublin as my last option, so I will just click on this and then drag it down and change its position in this layer stack. So when I do this, Dublin is now 5, the numbering automatically changes. I can grab it and then move it and bring it back again. The numbering automatically changes. So in many situations, you might find that the points that you want to display them in a particular sequence. And if you wanted to do that, you can just style your markers using sequence of number styling. So this is one of the options that is available. We have already seen uniform style, individual styles, sequence of numbers. We can also style by data column, and this is really very powerful. So what you can do is you can say, for example, come to footfall. And when you do this, you have two options here. One is you can style by ranges. So because this is a number, you can come here and say, I want to show stores which are falling in different ranges. So we have footfall, that is daily number of expected visitors to the shop. So we would like to divide them into 3 ranges, and then we can choose a color ramp. So you can see that it has already created 3 ranges. We'll see what are those 3 ranges once we remove this dialog. And you can come here and choose colors. So these are usually available in a ramp, but you can just come and click on any ramp and then just dismiss this. So you will see that these 2 stores are stores which are having 50 to 80 visitors. These 2 stores, the one in yellow, which are not really clearly visible, we'll try to fix that in a second, are stores that are expecting a footfall between 150 and 160. And the stores in the green, that's only just 1, as you can see here, are the stores where we are expecting a footfall between 200 and any higher number that we would have had in this particular case, just 200. Now, if you're not happy with any individual color, you can always come to that particular item and click on the bucket. And instead of using the range color, you can just uncheck this, and you can then come here and click on a color of your choice, and you have a new color. And you can do this for every item here. Say, for example, if I was not happy with this color as well, I can always come here and change the color to a darker green or a purple or whatever else. So you don't need to actually be fixated on the color of the range. You can individually change the colors, or otherwise, if you want to use the range color, you can just simply click on this particular button and the range color will be reverted back. If you change it, you can choose any color that you want, and then the range will be displayed in a slightly different color. Just click on the bucket and choose a different kind of color. What we can also do here is we can also explore the categories options. So if we click, instead of ranges, if we come here and click on the category option here, you can then choose the field that you want to display. And in this particular case, we can say second-hand books. So there are some stores that are selling second-hand books, and there are some stores that are not selling second-hand books. So as you change this, you will immediately see a reclassification of markers on your map. This time, because we are styling using a different field. Previously, we were styling using footfall. Now we are using second-hand books, which has yes and no. So we can use categories and then just simply change this field right here and dismiss this. So you can see that at all the locations where you are seeing the markers in red, there is no facility for second-hand book sale. And wherever you are seeing the yellow markers, you can buy second-hand books on those stores. So we can go ahead and change the color, and you have a different color. So this is a really powerful feature. If you had lots of columns, you can then just display your data according to any column. and the display will change. It will show you locations based on the data in that particular column. So in this case, we are using second-hand books where 2 stores had yes in that column and 2 stores had no in that column. So that is exactly what is being displayed here. So you can have a variety of things in terms of styling if you wanted to. And you can go to uniform styles, sequence of numbers, individual styles, or style by data columns. If there is a column that is having numbers, you can choose a range and club all your locations into 3, 4, 5, 6 categories. Those categories will be automatically created, and you can then change the colors. Or otherwise, you can pick a field that is having text or a logical operator like true and false. And then you can just simply go ahead and choose categories and change the field to that particular field to display the markers based on data inside that particular field. So let me revert back to uniform styling. So I'm going to come here and click on this and then click on this button and choose uniform style. So all my bookstores are now in a uniform style as I have done before. Now let me introduce the concept of layers. So we have all these stores in one layer, which is titled as tentative locations of bookstores. Now, say for example, if I was catering to students through these bookstores, if they were my primary clients, it might be a good idea to see where the colleges are and maybe then take a call exactly where my bookstore should be positioned or located. So let's try to add a layer and see where the colleges in this particular area are located. And we will put all those colleges in one additional layer. So let me just zoom into the first location, that is Cork. So this is the area where my bookstore is located. And this is the city of Cork, most of it. So what I can now do is to type in a keyword in the search box and say colleges and look for colleges. But before I do that, because I want to add all these colleges in a different layer, I can come to this particular option here, add layer, and click on it. So it'll take a few seconds and a new layer is added. The first thing we can do is to just simply give it a name. So click on rename and say colleges. And this can also include universities and other educational institutions. Now we have 2 layers. One is tentative locations of bookstores. So when we click here, you will see that there is a blue highlight on the corner indicating that this layer is selected. And we can come and click on colleges layer. And this is now the selected layer. So we will make sure that we have selected the colleges layer, because whatever we are going to add is added on the layer that is selected. So we should make sure that we will select the colleges layer. And then what we can do now is to put the keyword colleges. So come to the search box and type in colleges. You can come back and type university also, but this should cover quite a few institutions. So it's already showing different colleges, and this includes universities also. The important option here is the last one. It says colleges search places near the current view. So this is the view, and it'll try to show you all the colleges in this area that you are seeing in the screen. So if you were to choose the last option, and I'm going to click on that, you will see all the colleges in this particular area. And all these colleges tentatively appear here. And we will select this particular layer. And what we can do is we can just keep adding or clicking on this plus sign to add any college that we want on this particular layer, because this layer is selected. If you want to get rid of all these icons here, you can just come here and click on this cross button and all of them will disappear. You can type colleges once again and choose the last option to get them all back. When you do this, they all appear here tentatively. And if you scroll down, you will see the colleges layer. So we will select the colleges layer, make sure that this layer is active. If by mistake this layer is not active, anything that you're going to add will get added to the selected layer. And while we can move items from one layer to the other layer, it's much more convenient to select the proper layer and then keep adding your locations. So these are all the colleges that have resulted from our search, as you can see by the green markers here. And what we can do is, we have already selected the college layer. We can come to this list and click on the plus sign and add any college that we want to the colleges layer. So let me just show you what happens when we click on the plus sign and choose a university or college or a location that is coming out of the search box. Because this has already been mapped by Google Maps, this addition is going to be a little bit different. And when I click on the plus sign, you will see that this has been added to the list of colleges. So I can do the same for all the colleges. Just keep clicking on the plus sign, and these colleges are now landing up on the colleges layer. And what we now have is a layer full of colleges. So all these locations, tentative locations of bookstores that we had created in the previous layer, they were not present on Google Maps before. So we had to point to the exact location where the bookstore will come. But all these locations have come out of the search box, and let us see how they are different. And to do that, we are going to come here and click on the preview button and see the layer of colleges. So you can see that this is the layer of colleges. And as we zoom in, you will see all of these quite nicely on the map. And when we click on one particular college, say for example, University College Cork, you will see that it already has 10 photographs built in, plus a lot of information that has been provided by people on Google Maps. So when we click on photographs, you can see that these photographs of the University College Cork have automatically been inserted. We did not have to do anything. Likewise for other colleges as well. Say for example, if you were to click this, you will see that there are photographs of this institution as well. And you can just have a look at this particular institution. So let me get rid of this preview window. So whenever we are adding any location that is coming out of the search box, we can benefit by automatic addition of information and also photographs that other people have added. So what we have done now is that we have created a second layer. If we wanted to change the styling here, we can just come here and click on individual styles and change this to uniform style, and then come here and click on this bucket symbol, and then maybe change the icon and the color as well. So let me just choose, let us say for example, purple, and come to more icons and look for university. So this is an icon that is appropriate. So you can see that all the colleges are now represented by a different icon. And we have just now created a second layer. So this gives us vital information. We can always switch this layer off. Just click on this checkbox and all the colleges are not visible. And click on this to switch it on. Likewise for the tentative bookshop location, if you can click on this, it'll be switched off and this will be switched on. Now this gives us some vital information. You can see that there are quite a few colleges here, and our bookshop is located at this particular location. So there is an argument that we can actually move this bookshop to a location that is proximate to most colleges. Or let us say for example, if we click on this distance button here, we can click once and then try to see the distance. So we are seeing that 3 colleges are located within 2.5 kilometers of this particular bookshop. And if we were to move this bookshop here, we would in the same radius be able to see many more institutions. So to get rid of this distance tool, just press escape. So if you wanted to ever move this icon, you can do that quite easily by clicking on it and then clicking on the edit button, and then just simply grabbing hold of this and moving it to some other location, say for example here, which would then bring this bookshop in the vicinity of many colleges. Now, I'm not going to do that just now because there is one other layer that we can benefit from. So I'm going to press the undo button to bring my tentative bookshop back again. And let's see if we can also create a layer for bookstores already existing in this city. So we don't want to open a bookshop in an area which is already having many competitors. So let us come here and do the same thing. We are going to add a new layer, add a layer, and a new layer is created. And the first thing we want to do is to come here and click on rename layer and give it an appropriate name. So I'm just calling it bookshops and save. And this time around, we will just try to look for bookstores and choose the last option, which will show us bookstores in the area that is visible on the screen. So let us click on this. We can also try using bookshops. And after having selected this particular layer, that is the bookshops layer, when we scroll up, you will see that all these green markers are available here for addition. And we can just keep clicking on these and keep adding all of these or any one that we are interested in one by one. And all these bookshops are now added to this particular layer, that is the bookshops layer. So once again, we can come here and click on individual styling. And we can come here and choose uniform styling. And once we have done that, we can come and click on this bucket symbol and give it a unique color and maybe also a unique symbol if you wanted to. I'm not going to do that. So once we are done, we now have an interesting scene here in front of us. This is a bookshop. These are all the colleges. They are scattered, but this seems to be the bigger cluster of colleges. And you can see that this area is currently having quite a few bookshops. So now I can take a call whether I want to move my location to this particular area, which is already having quite a few bookshops, or for example, primarily cater to these three universities, the Cork University Hospital, the Technological University, and this institution right here, and another institution right here. So if I'm located here, there's less competition here, so this might be a suitable place for me to locate a bookshop. This is just an example, but the fact of the matter is that we can create multiple layers and switch them on and off, and which can not only help us see information on the map, but can also help us take decisions. So we can repeat this exercise once again for other locations as well. So this was just for the location in Cork, and we can repeat the same exercise for Dublin and also for Galway, Belfast, and Coleraine. So this is how you can create layers. There is a limitation to the number of layers that you can create, and that is 10. So when we click here and try to see the preview of all the three layers and zoom into the Cork area where we have all the information available to us, you will see that as we expand the bookshops and click on a particular item, we are already having photographs of this particular bookshop. So you can see all these photographs. We have not added these photographs. These have been added by people, and we are just beneficiaries of their work. And this is the advantage of searching something inside Google Maps and then adding that particular location. But there are many instances, for example, in the case of the bookshops that have not yet opened, that are being planned, they are not available inside the search. And so we will have to put them all here ourselves. So this is how you can create layers inside Google My Maps. Now, one small point that I would like to mention here is that if by mistake you have something on one layer that you want to move to another layer, you can do that quite easily by clicking on the uniform style and changing it to individual styles. So this is going to work only when a layer is displayed as individual style. And let us say, for example, we want to move this item from the colleges layer to our tentative bookshop location layer. This is just an example. So if you wanted to do that, you can always click on this. And once it is selected, just grab hold of it. So when you do that, you will see that the cursor is now a 4-headed cursor. And when that happens, you can just simply move and dump it on another layer. So when we expand this layer, you will see that University College Cork is now part of the tentative locations of bookstores. I've just shown this as an example. And of course, this is not a bookshop, so we'll move it back again. So now to move this out back again to this layer, you will have to click on uniform layer and change it to individual styles. And then just click on this particular layer and then grab hold of it. As you move, this becomes a 4-headed arrow, and we can come and drop it on the colleges layer wherever you want it to be, and then revert this back again to uniform styling. And once again, revert this back again to uniform styling if you wanted to do that. So you can move items between layers, but then the critical point is that you have to make sure that the styling is individual styling. So this is how you can create layers. So let's say that my map is now done. And if suppose I wanted to hold a discussion with a few of my investors about the most suitable location of this particular bookshop in the Cork branch, I could just come here and click on these 3 dots and set this as the default view, as this current discussion or conversation is just about the location of the bookshop in Cork. And then I can just come here and choose a different base map such that this entire map is a little bit less cluttered. So say, for example, something like this, which shows all the streets, but it is missing out on other features. So I could do something like this, and then I can just simply go ahead and click on share and activate this particular switch and share this link with my investors and ask them for their views about the most suitable location for the bookshop that is giving me the biggest competitive advantage. Also note that when they will be viewing this map, they will always have the option of switching on the satellite view, and that will bring in all the details if they wanted to see more details about other features that are present in or around this particular bookshop. And once done, they can revert back to the less cluttered map-based layer, and then they can take a call on what is the most suitable location for this particular bookshop. So this brings us to the end of part 1. In part 2, I will tell you how to digitize lines and polygons, and I will also tell you how to correct digitization errors. So don't forget to join me in part 2. I hope you found this video interesting and useful, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video, that is part 2 of this series. Thanks a lot for watching.